With that, we do have an amazing guest speaker who is here with us today from Risk Strategies. We have Jamie Burrell, learning specialist at Risk Strategies. So thank you so much for being here with us today. And I will turn it over to you, Jamie, to share your screen and to kick off the presentation.
Thank you so much, Tandeka. And hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here today. Let me go ahead and share my screen so you guys can see it.
That's perfect. We can see it.
Awesome. All right. Awesome. Well, yes, thank you so much, everyone. As Tandeka mentioned, my name is Jamie Burrell. I'm so excited to be here with you all today. I have been in the insurance industry for about 16 years, most of that on the insurer side, spanning service, leadership, training, talent development. And for the last year and a half, I have been with Risk Strategies and now part of the Brown and Brown team. And one of the things that I love most about this industry is that there are so many different career paths that you can take depending on what it is that you're interested in, right? I've already seen so many different things in the chat and heard you guys talk about it. There's, of course, sales, service, claims, underwriting, client relationships, marketing, finance. There's so many different career paths that you can take throughout the industry. So it makes it really, really exciting. And that's also why I am so glad that I am here with you all today. Important to help you design a career that you love and just really being intentional about it from the start. I did design this session today, keeping in mind early career professionals, but I truly think that any of the tools and strategies that we talk about today, you can apply it throughout any time in your career. I hope you have a pen and paper handy because there will be some questions for you to consider and think about. And I think it would be really, really helpful to think about those as we go through this session together today. The first question I want to ask you guys, and please feel free to just share this in the chat. Think about when you were a kid. What did you want to be when you grew up, when you were a kid? I'd love to see some of those things in the chat. It may not even be related to what you're studying now, right? But then again, it might be. An actress and or a doctor. I love that. I love that. A professional tennis player. Oh, I love that, Stacey. Marine biologist. Oh, so interesting. A musician. Yes. I'm loving these guys. Loving these, loving these. Architect. Yeah, and when you think about those things, these dreams that you had when you were a kid in some of these careers, it may not sound like insurance, but a lot of times some of the skills and passions, you can relate it to your career. You can sometimes find a way to pull those into your career and be creative with your path. So I love those. Thank you all so much for sharing. So in this session today, these are some things that we are going to cover. So we're going to start with first, cultivating self-awareness. So this is really about looking inward, right? And thinking about your strengths, your interests, your values, which is really the foundation of you starting out with your career. Next, we're going to go into setting meaningful goals for yourself. And how you can stay motivated and keep yourself moving forward throughout your career journey. Next, we'll talk about how to build your professional network. And first step is you guys being here today. You guys have an opportunity to meet so many new people and connect with them today. So that's awesome. And then we'll finish with aligning your growth with your personal values. And I'll share some tips that I've learned along the way as well. So hopefully help kickstart you. You don't have to make a lot of the same mistakes that I made. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So starting with cultivating your self-awareness, I really broke this down into 3 parts, right? So it starts with your strengths. What is it that you're really good at? What are your values? What are those things that really matter to you? And then what excites you? What are your interests? So let's start with your strengths. When you think about your strengths, first do some self-reflection, right? Think about what comes to mind when you hear that question, what are you good at? What naturally are you good at? What maybe have people told you in the past that you're good at? Maybe you're good at solving problems. Maybe you're good at math. Maybe you're good at writing or communication or building relationships. Maybe you're really creative, right? What is it that's unique about you that you have found that you're really good at? So it starts with first reflecting on your own experience. Think about some classes that you've taken that you did really well in, maybe some projects that you worked on and you got great feedback. What are those things about your own experience that stand out to you? Start there with your own reflection. But what's really important also here is asking others. So finding those people, who are those truth tellers in your life that will tell you the truth? Like, what are you good at, right? So asking others, what do you see as a strength of mine? And what I've found happens a lot, especially things that you're naturally good at, you don't always recognize that that's a strength because it just comes natural to you. You think, oh, everybody just does that. That's just the way people are. And sometimes you don't realize, no, that's unique to you until somebody else points it out to you. Like, hey, maybe they'll say, I love the way you approach solving a problem. Like you ask questions that I wouldn't even consider, right? Or, hey, you're so good at just communicating with people, or maybe your written communication or your verbal communication. And you may think, well, yeah, I'm just good at that. But when others are able to identify it and articulate it, sometimes we have blind spots that we don't see. So it can be really beneficial to ask others as well. What do they think your strengths are? So looking at your own experience, asking others, and even assessments can help. You might have already taken some career assessments. A very popular one is assessment would be the Clifton Strengths, the Strengths Finder, where they give you like your top, let's say like 5 strengths based on an assessment. That can be really eye-opening, reading through just the descriptions of what your strengths are. So there's lots of different ways you can identify them. Really reflecting on your experience, asking others, assessments can help as well. But finding those things that you're really good at. I'm going to jump over to interest. So if we think about what is it that excites you? Here you can think about what are some maybe classes that you've taken or experiences that you had that you were really excited to learn about or you were really excited to experience. What were some of those things? And notice your energy when you're working on certain things. What are those things that you do feel excited versus what are those things where you actually feel drained? That can help guide you into more of those things that you're interested in doing more of or learning more of as well, those things that bring excitement to you. And then the last one here that you see is your values. So these are, what are those things that really matter to you? And we're going to do a values exercise. So on this screen, there's a lot of words. So read through these words. I'm going to be quiet while you read through it. And I want you to pick what are the 5 values on this slide that really resonate with you the most, that are just really important to you, okay? So write down those 5 words.
You've got such great words up here. It's hard to choose only 5.
I know. It's
That's
so hard.
amazing.
It's so hard. Give me a thumbs up once you have your 5. Okay. Okay. Now I know that was hard. If you have your five, I want you now, this might be even harder. Look at the five that you wrote down. And now I want you to narrow that down to your top three. Circle your top three. And what may help is if you're looking at your list, if you see some that kind of relate to each other, pick the one that stands out the most. Like for example, for me, two of mine are curiosity and learning. So to narrow it down, I chose curiosity because if I stay curious, that will lead to me learning. So if that helps you narrow it down any, but circle those top three. All right. And if you have your top three, share one in the chat for me. I would love to see your what some of your values are. Curiosity. Oh, that's one of my authenticity. Love that, Laura. Optimism, faith, service, respect, and dignity. Awesome. Job security. Yeah. Learning, self-discipline, ambition. Love these. Love these. And I know it's hard because you're like, well, all these are important, right? But really identifying those top ones, and you can think of these as your core values. So let me move on to this next slide because this will show your career sweet spot right in the middle where all three of these overlap. So when you're able to do work that you're really good at doing and you're really interested in doing it and you're contributing to values that are really meaningful to you, that is your career sweet spot. It doesn't always happen, of course, right away in the beginning of our careers, but it can help us when it comes to making career choices, thinking about aligning with our strengths, with our interest, and with our values. And I recommend doing this exercise, every couple years, because as you grow and evolve, as your career evolves, you're going to see that your strengths are evolving as well. You may find that you're interested in different things. Even your values sometimes may change over time, depending on things that you're exposed to and what's happening. So I definitely recommend doing this pretty often to stay connected with who you are now as you evolve throughout your career journey. So once you're really clear on who you are right now and what you're good at and interested in and what is really meaningful to you and your values, you can land hopefully in a role that is aligned with those things, or even just starting with where you are now, right? So in any role that you find yourself in, you want to make sure that you're setting meaningful goals for yourself. And I've broken it down into these four areas. So it starts with first just getting clear on expectations. So in any role that you're in, getting really clear on understanding what is expected of you. Are there certain metrics or targets that you need to hit? What does success actually look like in the role that you're in? So just really getting clear on that. And then mastering the basics, right? So understanding any tools that you need to work with, any systems that you need to work with, understanding processes inside and out, so that you can really perform well in the position that you're in. And then work on being reliable. So this is about meeting deadlines consistently, right? And what's really important here is also if you hit a roadblock, don't be afraid to share that. The sooner you can bring that up and talk through it and talk through these obstacles so that you can move forward, that's going to help you become reliable. And one thing that I've had to learn, I feel like over and over again, we all have these lessons that we have to learn. And sometimes we have these same lessons that we have to learn over and over that are really hard to get through our heads. But one for me is asking for help. Like there's been so many times where I was asked to do something and or leading something and I didn't want to ask for help because for whatever reason I didn't want to be a burden or I didn't want to bother someone or I didn't want to appear like I didn't know what I was doing, right? My advice is ask for help early, as early as possible. And it could just be something like, hey, I a quick check-in, right? Hey, I'm working on this. This is where I'm at. I want to make sure that I'm working in the right direction. This is where I am. I'm actually thinking I'm going this way or that way. What are your thoughts? The sooner you do that, the sooner you get clarity that you're moving in the right direction. Because what happens, guys, if you don't do that, you can spend so much time working on something and it's not even close to what was expected in the first place. But if you went ahead and asked up front and got that clarity, you have saved so much time and heartache for everyone involved. So the sooner you learn that lesson, the better. That's been a hard one for me to learn. And it helps build trust and credibility too, because you're being thoughtful about where you are and moving work forward. So that's a really, really important one. And then grow your expertise, right? So in your current role, deepen your knowledge, continue to learn, get as much practice as you can to really help you perform the best that you can in the role that you're in. So it's really these four things: getting clear on what's expected of you, what success looks like, what those metrics are being measured, and what targets you want to hit. Really mastering everything that's going to help you be successful in that role with the tools and the resources and understanding the processes, meeting those deadlines, right? Hitting those targets, asking for help when you need it, seeking that clarity if you need it, and then just continuing to grow and learn in the area that you're in. Once you've done that, once you've kind of set the foundation of being performing very well in the role that you're in, then you can start to look at other ways to create value for your team or your organization. And I like to think of this in four different buckets. So the first one you see up here is revenue, right? So in the work that you do, is there any way to increase revenue? And think of this as this can be through retention, this can be through improving the customer experience. All of these things are ways to increase revenue. You may have an idea that you want to try within your team, right? But that's one option there. The next one you see here is, are there any ways that you've identified to reduce cost? And there are different ways of doing this. Anytime you're able to save money or time, that can be a significant way to help reduce those costs. So maybe you see a way that you can streamline a process, or maybe you've identified a bottleneck in a process where things are getting held up and it's taking longer. Any suggestions or ideas to improve those things, that can also help save significant time and money. So those are just some ways to create value for your team, for your organization. The bottom two you see here are culture and innovation. So most work, a lot of work, there's going to be collaboration, right? There's going to be teams. So getting really good at collaborating and getting really good at working with others can help you in your career. And any ideas you have for ways to improve the culture that you work in, right? Whether that's somehow making it more productive or positive. I'm sure Tandeka, one of her values is optimistic. So I'm sure her being optimistic is going to be a great way to improve any culture that she's working in, right? So aligning your values with these things is great as well, because you're going to find it more fulfilling as well. But anyway, you can think of improving the culture, making it more inclusive of others, right? This can look like ways to support teammates, ways to help onboard new teammates that come to the team, stepping up and helping out, right? It doesn't have to be this huge thing. It can be these little ways that you're doing this that's going to really add value to your team and ultimately to your organization as well. And then this last bucket here is innovation. So this is, thinking of any kind of breakthroughs or thinking of a new way to approach something, thinking of ways to use technology in new ways to improve things, ways of working. So sometimes just being a fresh eyes at something and sharing ideas that way is a great way to lead to innovation. But I love thinking of creating value in these four different buckets because there's so many ways that we can do that. But once you've set the foundation for performing very well in your role, and you've also become known for creating value and impact in the organization, that's going to help build your brand throughout your organization and your team. People are going to become to know you for that, and that's going to help you excel in your career as well. So once you've done that, so far we've talked about getting to know yourself, understanding your strengths, your interests, your values, finding that sweet spot and aligning that and finding a role or in the role that you're currently in, finding ways to improve your performance, but then also thinking beyond that and creating value as well. Now let's go into building your professional network. So your career is not built just alone, right? You're going to meet so many people along the way. You've already met a lot of people already that are a part of your network or that you can make part of your network, right? So when it comes to your professional network, I like to think of these four buckets. So first, let's start with your peers. This can be students in your classes. This can be people that you've known already. This could be your coworkers, your current coworkers, prior coworkers. I think that this bucket is so important because as we're learning and as we're growing, being able to relate to people who are going through the exact same thing that we're going through at the same time is so valuable. You can provide each other encouragement. You can share learnings with each other. Just creating that community of people that know what it is that you're going through. They know what it feels like. That is so important. So make sure when you're thinking about your current network, who are your peers that are currently in your network, but also who are your peers that you want to say, hey, I want to make sure I stay connected with that person. Who are those people, right? Write their names down if they come to your mind. This is about being intentional with building that network. So once you've gotten that portion of your network for your peers, the next step is leaders. So while I said I think it's important to have those people who are going through the same thing as you at the same time, I also think it's important for you to know who are some people that have actually already gone through what I'm going through. Maybe they're a couple steps ahead of you, right? Those leaders, those people who have already gone through what you're going through, they can share perspective of a bigger picture, right? They can share what skills that they know works or what's important, or even opportunities that they know that are coming up that they can share with you. You can learn a lot from leaders or from anyone who's already been in the position that you are in today or where you want to go. The next one is going to be experts. So when you think about who are those people, think about, first of all, what are the areas that you really want to learn a lot about? And then who are experts in those areas? Or what are the areas that would benefit you in the role that you're in or where you want to go? And then who are people that are currently experts in those areas? And making sure that you have some of them in your network as well. To really build your expertise, deepen your knowledge, learn from them as well. Again, that's just being intentional. And this last one, diversifiers, I think is one of the most important ones, but I also think that it's commonly one of the most overlooked components that people don't think about. Because when you think of diversifiers, this is people who are different than you. These are people who may look different, think different, sound different. They may ask different questions. They may approach something completely different than you would. And why I say this is important is because they're going to stretch you. You're going to learn so much from these people. And why I say that it's commonly most overlooked is because I think naturally people are drawn to other people who are similar to them. So they don't really think about being intentional with expanding their network, right? But if you think about who are those people that have a different skill set, that think about things different, that are even in a different area than you that you can learn from, right? And really being intentional with including them in your network as well, because you can really challenge each other that way. And when you look at that, when you see these four different categories of people to make sure that you intentionally have in your network, Which one area, share in the chat for me, which one area do you want to be intentional about over the next year to expand your network in that area? Let me see. Okay, experts. Yes. Love that, Bryce. You can learn a lot, right? And the thing about experts is a lot of times you can learn things so much at a quicker rate than it would take you to learn on your own. Diversifiers, yes. Tandeka, love that, love that. Okay, Angelica as well, yes. Yeah, and that's going to take you thinking for a second. Wait a minute, who is different from me in these different areas, right? And who can I reach out to? Because they're going to learn a lot from you too. It's not just you learning from these people. These people are going to learn a lot from you too, which actually leads us into the next part. So building your professional network, it's not about just knowing a lot of people. It's not about just having a lot of connections. It's also about building those connections. I know, Laura. So Laura said, where was this advice when I started my career? Need diversifiers and finance to understand how to read a P&L and business results since I write about it. Well, there you go. Hey, it's never too late, Laura. I did say in the beginning, I think that you can apply these at any point in your career, right? And I probably needed the same advice as well. That's where a lot of the things that I teach others about come from, is lessons that I learned along the way, things that I needed along the way, and I want to make sure other people are thinking about them. So love that, Laura. Okay, so we've talked about the different kinds of people to have in your network. But again, it's not just about knowing people. It's not just about people knowing you. It's really about being mutually beneficial in these relationships, right? So here's some ways that you can nurture your network. So the first thing is offering value, right? And all of the ways that we just named that these other people offer value to you, you also offer value to other people as well. Remember, you're going to get really clear on your strengths and your interests and your values. So what are those strengths that you have? What is the knowledge and the expertise and the experience you have that can really be beneficial to other people? And making sure that you're doing that as well. Sharing those lessons that you learn with other people so they don't have to make all the mistakes themselves, right? This next one, friend tours, this one has a very special place in my heart. So if you haven't heard the term friend tour, these are your friends. Lots of times you work with them. They're your friends, but they're also your mentors. And y'all, there's a lot of research done about the importance of having friends at work, or at least having that one work bestie. It improves morale, it improves productivity, it just improves your work experience. Being able to talk to someone else again who is going through similar things, who understands, right? So finding those friend tours who you really care about each other, you really care about each other's success, you want to see each other succeed, but you're not afraid to be honest with each other and give that feedback and challenge each other and share opportunities. Those are your friend tours. Think about, who are your friend tours? Who is in that list right now that you would consider your friend tour, right? And make sure you stay connected with them. Even if your paths somehow go in different directions, stay in touch with your friend tours, check in with them, see what's going on with them. Which goes into our next bullet here. Stay in touch intentionally with people. Yeah, Tandeka, I love it too. I have so many friend tours in my current position, in my last position, the last company I worked for, and we stay in touch with each other, right? Because it just makes it fun when you're learning with people, you're sharing what you're learning with people. Maybe you see a resource and it makes you think of someone. So share that with them. Say, hey, I read this and I thought you would really enjoy this. Hey, I saw this TED Talk and I thought this was something that you might really enjoy watching, right? So just sending them a message if you're connected on LinkedIn, or if not, send them a text message. Just those small things is really ways to just stay intentional, and it lets people know that you're thoughtful, you're thinking of them, and you're actually still providing value to them as well. And then the last one on here is to seek mentors. I know we hear about people talking about mentorship a lot, and a lot of times we get this idea that it has to be this formal relationship and you have to ask, how do I ask someone how to be my mentor? What I have found throughout my career is the most valuable mentorship relationships that I've found, these relationships just grew organically. It was a leader or someone else that I respected. I really valued their input, their approach to things. And so with that, I intentionally sought out to get their advice, to listen to them, and again, offer value, because mentorship is not always this one way, take. What can I learn from this person? This person is so wise. Teach me all your ways. Let me pick your brain. It's not always that way. They learn so much from you too. Like, reverse mentorship is also a thing where senior leaders want to learn from newer people entering the workforce, right? What is important to them? What new technologies are they using? So it goes both ways. Don't just think, I have so much to learn from them. They have a lot to learn from you too. And don't be afraid to share things with them, opportunities that you identify, ideas that you have. Don't be afraid to share those things. So seeking mentors, and then also give them back. So there's going to be people that come in after you, right? What was it that you needed then, and how can you help them along the way? That's another way to not only continue to expand and build your network, but to provide that value to others as well. So yes, that's very, very important. It's often said that there's so many things that are said about the people you surround yourself with, right? So there's this famous quote. It's like, you are the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Like, you're like a combination of that, or your net worth is your network. Your network is your net worth, or your network is your lifeline, right? Like, you never know, when are you going to need your network or people in your network. And don't just call on them when you need them. So stay in touch, provide that value all the time. And then the last area I have here is aligning your growth. So again, we've talked to getting to know yourself, finding a role or even the role that you're in, really becoming proficient in that role and expanding your impact, and then building that network. These are some tips also that I want to share with you guys about continuing to grow throughout your career. And in this picture, you'll see a lot of times when we think about a career, we think it's this linear line from point A to point B. I hate to break it to you, if you haven't already realized, it typically does not happen that way. As we see in this picture, we see this squiggly line with lots of ups and downs and loops going up and down across, right? And what's really cool, what I love about this image is these blue dots are along the way. We have these really cool learning experiences. We learn from the highs, we learn from the lows, we learn from the people that we work with. We learn a lot about ourselves through this journey as well, right? So that's, I just love this image, and I wanted to share that with you all. But here are some tips that I have for you along the way throughout your journey. The first one you see here is, don't wait until you feel 100% ready to go for an opportunity, to raise your hand for something. Because a lot of times you're going to end up waiting for a very long time. You may miss so many opportunities because you don't feel 100% ready. In reality, you may never feel 100% ready. And if by some chance you do wait until you feel 100% ready, chances are at that point, you may even be overqualified for that. It may not even be a challenge for you anymore, because you grow the most when you're out of your comfort zone. So again, if an opportunity comes up or somebody taps on your shoulder for something, go for it. Don't wait until you feel 100% ready, because that may not happen. The next one here is fail fast and fail forward. We're going to make mistakes, y'all. You probably already have, right? I know I have. Yes, Bryce. We're all going to make mistakes, okay? The quicker you make that mistake, the quicker you learn from it. If you're not making mistakes, ask yourself, are you trying anything new? Are you trying anything different? Because if you're trying new things, especially things you've never done before, things that have never done before by anyone else, chances are mistakes are going to happen, but that is how we learn. The sooner we can make those mistakes, the sooner we can adjust, the sooner we can change it and make it better going forward. That's why I like Hear, Fail, Forward, because you're going to adjust and you're going to make it better. You're going to apply those lessons that you learned along the way, right? Because again, think about it. If you're waiting until you feel 100% ready, and if you're scared to make mistakes, you're going to be holding yourself back from a lot of opportunities. There's going to be a lot of missed opportunities there that you could have taken advantage of and learned from, right? So that next one is seeking feedback. It may feel uncomfortable at first. Again, that's how you grow, right? Seeking that feedback and actually applying it, that is such a growth accelerator. We all have blind spots. We all have areas that we can improve on. So seeking that feedback from others and early and often, and then applying it, this actually helps build trust with other people because you become known as someone who is curious about how others perceive you. And then you're actually willing to do the work to change it and to get better. So yeah, getting out of active duty military was the scariest thing, getting out of your comfort zone, and people who are still in miss a lot of cool opportunities in the civilian world. Yes, absolutely. Yes, Sean, thank you so much for your service and thank you for sharing that. It's so true, y'all. We don't think about getting typically our initial reaction isn't to put ourselves outside of where we feel comfort because that's discomfort and it's unfamiliar, right? Most of the time humans like to feel comfortable. They like to feel like they know what they're doing. They like to feel like they know what they're talking about. And that's okay. That's perfectly natural. But if we can change our mindset to say, you know what, I don't know yet. I'm going to try this. I'm not going to be perfect, right? So a lot of times our perfectionists do have trouble with this. And I'll admit I am a reformed perfectionist. I like to say my perfectionist tendencies still do tend to come up. That's why it's taken me so long to learn these lessons, right? It's because it's hard for me to ask for help. It's hard for me to make a mistake. It's hard for me to I don't know, all of these things. So yes, asking that feedback. Asking for feedback was so hard for me when I was younger because I think I am also my own worst critic. A lot of you may relate to that. Like you are your own worst critic. And so when you hear feedback, it may sting and you're like, oh gosh, but it's okay. Again, that's that discomfort. That's that getting out of your comfort zone because looking at it as what can I learn from this is going to be so helpful and such a mindset shift in your career. The next one on here is staying curious drives innovation and adaptability. Y'all, things are changing so fast. The skills that are needed today, the knowledge that you may have right now about something, it may be completely different next year. So staying curious, what you know now may not be relevant in the future. And that's okay. That's okay. It's not what you know. It's about what can you learn. It's about asking those questions. It's about how to approach things in a different way. People who are curious and asking questions, they're going to be able to spot things and opportunities that other people might miss. If they're so focused on what they know now, that may not even be relevant in the future. So I definitely recommend staying curious. Again, that's going to lead to that innovation. It's okay to make mistakes because we're going to learn from it and get better going forward, right? And staying adaptable because things are changing faster than ever. That's going to be such a skill set that's needed to be adaptable, to change, to pivot, to adjust, and to learn new things and new ways of approaching and doing things as well. And then just embracing lifelong learning. This is such an important lesson here. And you guys, you can learn things every single day from almost anywhere, right? Maybe you like to listen to a podcast. Maybe you like to read. You can learn something just from meeting a new person, having a conversation, approaching something in a different way. You showing up here today. Hopefully you learned something new today, even if it's just something about yourself, right? The growth journey that you have about learning about yourself throughout your career is also invaluable as well. So now I want to share with you guys we have a summer internship program that happens every year. This is our interns that just finished this 10-week program this summer. There was 24 of them across 13 different departments and specialties. And there is a QR code up here in the right corner. So if you scan that, you can actually learn so much more about prior interns that we've had, and any new opportunities that will come up as well will be available on that as well. So if you want to scan that and take a picture, that will take you to the website to learn more about our internship program. And as we wrap up today, I'll leave this up in case anyone's still taking pictures. But as we wrap up, I want to leave you all with this thought. So you get to define what success looks like for you in your career. Don't waste time chasing a title or some status just because it looks good on paper. True success comes from knowing yourself, staying intentional, and aligning your growth with what really matters most to you. And when you build a career in that way, you actually build a life's work that you can be proud of, that makes an impact, and that actually leaves you feeling fulfilled. So I want to say thank you all so much for being here today. I don't know if I saw any questions come through the chat. Okay, Bryce, I do see your hand up.
Sorry, I'm kind of chatty.
No.
So a little bit of follow-up on the internship opportunities. I noticed the applications open up in November. What are the roles breakout as far as like the numbers and what you looking for? If you could speak maybe like a few minutes briefly on the programs, kind of outline and tracks.
Yes, wonderful question, Bryce. There should be more information on that link. I know it does say that the opportunities will become available in November. As far as the specifics, I don't really know them right now. I can connect you with our person who actually runs that program. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I can share that with you, and we can get you all the details that you want for the internship program.
My goodness, thank you so much. That's extremely helpful.
Welcome.
That would be wonderful. Thank you for all the information today.
Absolutely. Thank you. Oh.
I just had a question. I wrote it down. What are some ways to build authentic connections in insurance and risk management industry without coming off as transactional?
Yeah, I love that question. I would say it's going to start with a lot of the things that we talked about today. Really knowing your strengths and your value, what you can provide others, and staying curious. I think people know when you're being authentic, right? And they know when you're able to also provide value as well. So even when it comes to asking questions, really just being thoughtful about the way that you do ask questions. There can be a way to ask questions that can come across as like, I don't know, intimidating or like an interrogation. But instead, you can frame it in a way, have we thought about this, or how might we do this? Or can you share with me our process that led to this? Why is it that we chose to do it this way? Right. And when you lead with thoughtful questions that actually invite others into the questioning, that's going to help you build relationships. The authenticity piece starts with you knowing those things about yourself and how you want to show up. I think another thing that's really important about being authentic in the workplace is that we can't always just completely be like our full selves all the time, right? I think that's where this misconception of authenticity comes from. But if we can reframe that to say, hey, what is my best self? And how can I show up as my best self? That's going to show that I'm able to contribute value here and also build relationships with other people. That right there, people know like when you're truly interested in adding value and building those relationships. Does that help any, Paul, with your question?
It does. it does. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I think that tracks across industries, right? Any industry that you're in. Great question.
Hello, my name is Evans, and thank you for your sharings today. I may have like two questions. So,
Okay.
firstly, like during your talking, you share a lot about like how we will be like ready for our career. So I would like to ask what employee, what employer looking for a candidate when they try to develop them for or hire them for the companies. And my
Mhm.
second question is like, can you tell us more about like risk strategies, your company?
Absolutely. So for your first question, what are companies looking for when they're hiring or even developing people? So when it comes to hiring, I would say it's important to some tips that I would have if you're going to apply for a position and interview, right? So I would say it's really important first to look at the job description and what are the skills, what are the experiences that are needed, and then looking at your own skills and experiences and tailoring your resume to match what it is the company is looking for any specific role you apply for. Also, I would suggest, like you mentioned, kind of doing a little research on the company. Like, what is the history of the company? What are some things that they're looking to do in the future, right? So you can do that from their company website. You can find people on LinkedIn that currently work at the company. So there's all different ways that you can do that as well. For your question as to what do employers look for when they are developing people, I would say it's always going to start with first your performance. And any role that you're in, make sure that you're not only just meeting the expectations, but try your best to exceed the expectations. So all those things that I talked about with understanding, getting clear on what's expected of you, how is success measured, what are those metrics and targets, and really just getting very proficient in your current role as far as when it comes to performance. Then, in any way that you're able to add value, even if it's on your team level, with some of those things we talked about, right? Improving the culture and innovation or breakthrough, any of those things beyond just your performance, that's like extra. And then another thing that we didn't really talk so much about today, but I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about, is your brand. How are you showing up? When somebody asks, when you're not in the room and somebody asks, hey, tell me about Vin, what are they going to say? What are those things you want them to say, right? They're very knowledgeable. They are very good at what they do. They're good communicator. They're good at collaborating, working with other people. They add so much value to our team. Like, what are those things you want them to say? Because that being curious and having that positive mindset, wanting to help others, wanting to continue to learn and grow and make an impact, that is going to go a long way in your career. So being identified as that high potential who is already performing very well, but they also have so much potential to do more within the company, that's going to help there. Now, as far as Risk Strategies, so Risk Strategies is a brokerage and consulting firm for insurance. It's part of it's in a transition right now. It was part of a session risk management where Risk Strategies focused on retail and then 180 focused on wholesale. We were very, very recently acquired by Brown and Brown. So we are now part of the Brown and Brown team. And lots of things happening and changing with that as far as merging together. And the insurance industry, I'm sure you guys are aware, mergers and acquisition is also huge. If that's an interest for any of you, there's lots of work going on in that space as well. But lots of things updating. Then I hope that helped a little bit. I think Tendeka did also share our LinkedIn page for the company as well. So if you do want to look through there and get some more information as well, that could be helpful.
Yeah,
Was any of that helpful for you?
Yes, yeah, it's very helpful to me. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for your
Yeah,
advice.
of course. You're so welcome. Great questions.
Amazing. Well, if you all could join me in a virtual round of applause for Jamie. That would be amazing. Jamie, thank you so much for hanging out with us here
Absolutely.
for an hour, for sharing all of your knowledge and these resources and tips and tricks. So hopefully all of the students who were here with us today learned a lot from this session, and you'll be able to take all of these tools and apply them
Yes.
into your future careers. So, as mentioned at the beginning of this session, the summer is coming to an end. Womp, womp, womp. And many of you are already back at school. So this is our last summer session, but we do have 3 more sessions before the end of this year. So we're going to have a session in September, one in October, one in November. So I've popped all the links in the chat. Make sure you click on that and sign up for our last 3 sessions of 2025. So our September session is going to be Thursday, September 4th from 1 to 2 Eastern. Our presenting company is going to be Liberty Mutual, and our guest speakers are going to help us explore both actuarial and underwriting careers. And they're going to help us understand industry exams and how to overcome failure. So take a moment to register, as mentioned, for all of our upcoming sessions. Check out our website for more details. Again, Jamie, thank you so much for being here with us today. And enjoy the rest of the day. For all the students, I'll catch you for the September session.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
You.